You tell me exactly what you want, and I will very carefully explain to you why it cannot be. What?
Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Young here and welcome to a Grand Theft Auto 5 trailer analysis. We have all watched the gameplay trailer and we all loved it, but now it is time to pick it apart shot by shot. There is a lot to talk about, so let's dive right into it. The trailer opens with a shot of beachside Los Santos with the city skyline in the background. Interesting to note is the blimp in the sky, which is something that has been seen in past trailers. I wonder if players can actually pilot them. If not, players will have other options such as helicopters and planes, which we'll see more of later on. We are then taken to underwater Los Santos, which really gives games with a similar feature like Assassin's Creed 4 a run for its money. I wonder what players gain out of scuba diving though. In Assassin's Creed 4, players can find treasure and loot, so what can be found in Grand Theft Auto 5 that will keep players returning to this activity? We'll see, but I think that aside from serving as a recreational activity, underwater gameplay will also be used for certain infiltration missions, but that's just my guess. We are then taken to a more rural, hillbilly part of Los Santos, likely close to where Trevor calls home. In the background we see two bike riders who could be members of the Lost Motorcycle Club, who've been referenced and seen crossing paths with Trevor in past trailers. Then at last we actually get to witness our very first look at actual gameplay. As expected from Rockstar, they do not disappoint when it comes to graphics. Not only is the world beautiful, but it's also vast. Now on the bottom right corner, players will notice the game's classic minimap, except this time it's shaped like a rectangle rather than a circle. Below the minimap are three bars, the health, armor, and special abilities bars, respectively. Also note that in this particular footage, the minimap shows these altitude lines that seem to appear only when players are piloting planes or doing aerial activities like skydiving, which we will see later on in the trailer. So expect this new minimap to be a little bit more dynamic than before, slightly changing depending on what the player is doing. Next up, we get to look at a high-performance jet ski boat with Trevor taking the wheels. This is also gameplay footage, once again showing an impressive vast world. Also note that since the player isn't in the air, the minimap no longer shows the altitude lines. We are then taken to the city, showing a variety of vehicles found in the game. The scene also features satirical product placement and pop culture reference, and I probably won't end up catching many of these throughout the trailer since I didn't move to America until I was 14 and since I've never been to Los Angeles, but I'll do my best. In the next shot, we are taken to the beachside once again. Little details like the woman jogging early in the morning and the man riding the wave boat really help in bringing the game and its world to life. Now here's an impressive bird's eye view of a small portion of the game world, really showing off how vast GTA 5 really is. And no, this mountain isn't there just for the hell of it. Players can actually reach the top of the mountain if they really go for it. And in fact, a big aspect of the game that Rockstar has been emphasizing recently is verticality, which can be seen in everything from missions to the environment. We are back to gameplay in this next scene. On foot, the minimap will show a bird's eye view rather than a slanted GPS-like view displayed when riding or piloting vehicles. This shot also shows one of the many stores that will be featured in Grand Theft Auto 5. This particular store is called Ponsonby's, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, with a logo that reminds me of Nordstrom's, which also sells fancy clothing. The next scene takes us back to the hillbilly side of Los Santos, with Trevor riding a shabby-looking pickup truck of sorts. In the back seems to be what could be some kind of an ammo box, which could mean Trevor is out to cause some trouble. Also, in the background are a variety of other pop culture references and satirical brands, like this pet store and this dollar store of sorts, but again, these kinds of things are not my specialty. Also note that since the character is riding a vehicle, the minimap shifts to a slanted look. We are then taken to a shabbier part of town, under the bridge, where many of the homeless reside. Urban decay is also a topic that this upcoming game will touch upon, so expect these kinds of scenes to be fairly common. Rockstar then shows a side of the GTA franchise that we have never really seen before: nature. The game will actually feature living, breathing wild animals that will go about with their normal lives, acting both as predator and prey for other animals. However, it's still not known how many species of animals players will actually get to witness total. Hopefully there will be enough variety to keep nature interesting for many hours. And we are back to sunny beach Los Santos with an impressive number of characters fully interacting with the location. I also love the graphical detail in the water, including that foggy, foamy layer that is found in seawater. Honestly, I'm still having a hard time believing that this is all running on a current generation system. We are then taken to a more natural, mountainous region of Los Santos that shows off ATVs. I wonder if ATV races will be featured as a racing minigame. It looks quite fun from here. Now this portion of the city is likely the Hollywood or Vinewood region, and again loving the little details like people in the background taking out their phones to take pictures and video, also loving these Master Chief rip-offs. Contrasting this scene is footage showing off a satirical corporate America, which is one of the major themes of the game. Expect some of these men in suits to serve as main targets for the dynamic trio and their major heists. And to end the first segment of the trailer, we are shown Franklin and his boss, Simeon Yetarian. Simeon is the owner of a corrupt car dealership of sorts, which is also a front for loan sharking and extortion, and Franklin is hired as a repo man to retrieve cars from those who can't or won't pay, and thus ends the first portion of the trailer. The opening scene of the second portion seems to take place in Trevor's house based on how disorganized everything is. Also notice a fourth man in the background who could just be one of Trevor's acquaintances. Another theory is that this fourth man is actually one more hired gun for a heist, and I'll get back to that theory later. Now, as for what they're doing here, the three amigos are obviously planning a major heist, large-scale missions that lie at the core of this new GTA game. Trevor seems to have it all figured out through this rather terribly drawn diagram, and we'll actually get to see more of these later on in the trailer. We're then taken to the middle of a heist scene, which could be the same one from Trevor's diagram. The crew seems to have had a run-in with the cops, as noted by the police cars and injured cops lying on the floor. What's weird is that from what I can see, none of the protagonists are holding any weapons, so the ruckus may have been caused by something else. The spotlight is then given to each of the three main protagonists, who are individually given a summary of their lives and circumstances. First up is Michael, a once successful bank robber who settled down with a ton of money after making a deal with law enforcement. In this scene, we can see Michael, his son Jimmy, his wife Amanda, and one other individual who I don't recognize. My best guess would be that this is the same man with the leopard underwear from a previous trailer, who Amanda is having an affair with. It would make sense since this man is obviously Amanda's yoga trainer or companion, based on the fact that the two are barefoot and wearing athletic attire, which is how you dress for yoga. This yoga companionship could have led to the two getting closer and having an affair. We are then given a summary of Franklin, who's living a life in the hood. There's a lot of green in the background, from attire to the graffiti that reads, "Welcome back, missed you last time." GTA veterans will recognize the color green as CJ's gang, the Grove Street families. Most interesting to note about this particular footage is the dog wearing Grove Street colors, following Franklin around. So it looks like players can actually own dogs and have them around as companions. Take that, Fable! Thus far, this feature seems to be exclusive to Franklin, since I have not seen dogs anywhere near Michael or Trevor. Also interesting to note are the letters F and M on the minimap. I don't know what the F stands for, but the M could definitely stand for Michael, but this is just speculation. And this is Lamar, a good friend of Franklin's. Lamar has been described by Rockstar as crazy, a good and funny kind of crazy. He's also one of the various Grove Street family drug dealers and gangbangers. Based on what I've seen in footage, while he seems to be a close acquaintance, he also seems to be an individual who is holding Franklin back from his ambitions. And then there's Trevor, short for what the fuck. I won't even ask what the hell's going on here, but that's definitely not a real foot, probably some kind of a mannequin. If I try to analyze this scene further, I think I'll get dumber, so let's just move on. We are then taken to a beautiful scene of the city, which will soon lead us into our first look at a heist mission. This particular heist seems to be the same one from the behind-the-scenes closed-doors demo shown to game journalists months ago. As you guys can see, these heists are no joke. Players will be tackling these missions by land and air. The point man in this particular scene is Michael. As mentioned before, verticality will be a huge aspect of the game, including in missions. After making his dramatic entrance, we are finally shown footage of the game's new feature, the ability to switch between characters on the fly at almost any time. As you guys can see, each of these characters will also have their own stats and specialties. Michael, for example, is good at shooting and stealth and has a good amount of stamina, which makes him a perfect point man. Franklin, on the other hand, is better at driving, which makes him the perfect chaser or extractor by land, although his shooting skills seem to be sufficient enough to serve as support. Also, if you look at the minimap, you will see that red dots showing the locations of hostiles will make a return. Then the character wheel pops up once again, and like before, Trevor is grayed out and cannot be selected in this portion of the mission. And that's probably because Trevor doesn't have to do much here, apart from keeping the helicopter afloat. He will be playable later on in the mission, however. I also want to point out this fourth blank portrait at the bottom, which has the words 83 days engraved on it. It's already been confirmed that players can recruit other members apart from the 3 protagonists, so this spot is likely reserved for a new recruit. As for the 83 days tag, I have no idea. It could be a timer of sorts until the 4th character is available for use. Who knows at this point? While Michael finishes the job, I would like to direct your attention to the minimap, which shows the yellow bar depleting. I mentioned before that this was the special ability bar, which may have turned some heads. Essentially, each of the 3 protagonists have unique special abilities that they can trigger at any time at the expense of the yellow bar. Michael's special ability is bullet time, allowing the player to slow down time for accurate shooting. Franklin can slow down time while driving, allowing him to make sharp turns and avoid collisions at the last minute. Trevor's special ability is a rage mode of sorts, which allows him to take less damage or inflict more of it. When any of these characters use one of these abilities, that yellow bar will deplete. Chaos ensues as Michael shoots down helicopters. During this segment, players can actually switch to Trevor and pilot the helicopter, while Michael's AI takes care of the shooting. Now, during this scene, the minimap shows a variety of icons, from paint shops, gun shops, a safe house, to a targeting range that we will see later on in the trailer. After a successful heist, we are given a look at these protagonists outside of missions. First, we are shown Franklin buying what could be medicine from a store called Smoke on the Water, a store made even more suspicious by this pipe shop sign. Next to the shop is a stand of sunglasses. I wonder if players will be able to interact with these smaller stores on the streets. Also note that on Franklin's minimap, we are shown a new letter, S. The S likely stands for Franklin's boss, Simeon, from earlier in the trailer. After Franklin's scene, we are shown for the first time instant switching between characters outside of cooperative missions. The camera goes into this really cool satellite view that drops back onto the chosen character. The AI is programmed to keep these characters going about their daily lives, so they won't just stand there where players leave them. Players may also find themselves surprised by some of the unexpected situations they find themselves in after checking up on characters, especially Trevor. And look at how impressive this scene looks. I mean, there's just so much going on, from incredible scenery to objects moving and zooming in and out, and the game doesn't even skip a beat. We are then shown a feature that wasn't really given too much emphasis in past GTA games, car customization. While unfortunately we never get to see the ability to add vinyl to the cars, we do get to see the ability to customize the car's color, exterior physical appearance, and features like top speed, acceleration, braking, and traction, which are still a lot of options. Now, I don't know if planes are customizable, but the ability to fly them is always nice. In fact, I would expect planes to have a bigger role in GTA 5 than ever before, since verticality is a huge emphasis of this game. A returning customization feature is the ability to shop for new clothes. Now, I don't know if there are certain shops that will be closed off to certain characters, since I can't really imagine Michael or Trevor wearing the kind of clothes we get to see here, which seem to be more of Franklin's taste, but I don't see why not give the players that freedom and option. We are then shown a number of minigames, some which look like full retail games. Rockstar has stated that they will include less minigames than in past games, but make each one much more fleshed out. In other words, quality over quantity. So here we are shown golf with all kinds of stats and diagrams that a normal golf game would have. We are then shown yoga, although the footage doesn't exactly show how this minigame will work. We are shown a bit of scuba diving, which gives Assassin's Creed 4 a run for its money. We are shown hunting and more footage of the game's fully realized wild world. And hell, we are even told that we can hunt for bounties, which will likely serve as side quests more than anything.
Bounties to hunt. And on and on.
How have you been?
Now, in this particular footage, we can see the lady browsing the web. It could be a bounty hunting website, which players can visit to check up on bounties they can hunt and favors they can fulfill for money. The peaceful few seconds soon shift to anarchy as we are shown GTA's cover, combat, and shooting mechanics. This is one aspect that GTA 4 struggled on, but I'm actually very impressed with what I'm looking at here. Everything seems fluid and snappy, and overall, I am optimistic about this one. Now, an interesting thing to note is that the other two characters are not grayed out in the character wheel, and Rockstar has stated that players cannot switch between characters during individual missions or while the character the player is controlling is in pursuit, so this could actually be a portion of another major heist or group mission of sorts. Further indication is this Bluetooth earpiece here, which could be for communicating and coordinating with his partners, although the Bluetooth could also just be a customization feature. On the other hand, Franklin is fighting against members of the Ballas gang, as noted by their purple attire, so this could also be just an individual mission. But in that case, why aren't the other two characters grayed out? Maybe there's something about the character wheel that I'm missing. We are then taken back to the streets, showing off some very smooth looking driving, with a player character in pursuit according to the minimap. In my personal opinion, driving has always felt kinda clunky in GTA games, so hopefully they will improve that aspect in GTA 5. In the following few scenes, we are shown even more fully fleshed out minigames, everything from a shooting range, which was shown on the minimap minutes ago, tennis, cycling races, to even skydiving. The shooting range game features stats such as multipliers, targets, medals, score, and time. Tennis looks like a full retail tennis game with the ability to pull off all kinds of shots. Bike riding features stats such as stamina, position, and time. And skydiving just looks fucking badass. I really hope that Rockstar adds some kind of an online leaderboard feature to complement some of these minigames to keep players coming back. Something interesting to note is that during the tennis footage, we are introduced to a new character, Jordan, who could just be some random NPC to play tennis against, but could also be an acquaintance of Michael's, who could end up playing a role in his storyline. Anyways, it is back to business as we see the three characters planning out their next scheme or heist, which is followed up by this next shot, showing off some impressive destructible environment. We have seen this feature to a limited degree in past games, with little things like street poles and fire hydrants, but we've never really seen something like this. Now keep in mind that this could be a scripted scene, although I really hope that's not the case. Next up, we are introduced to a new character who seems to be an acquaintance of Trevor's. Behind him is yet another one of those planning boards. This particular heist is called paleto, which is a Spanish word for stereotypical, unsophisticated individuals, and it seems to revolve around a chicken festival, sponsored by a familiar GTA brand, Cluckenbell. On the left, there is a little note that says need military hardware, while on the right, there's a to-do list of sorts with tasks such as scout town, test security, time cop response, pick crew, and get military gear. The next shot features a closer look at one of these planning boards. This one is for a jewel store heist. Most interesting is that you can see 3 other recruit members listed on the board with their own expertise, statistics, and value. The more members you recruit, the smaller your cut, but the easier the mission will be. I also have a feeling that these planning boards will actually be interactive to some degree, with new drawings and photos added as more phases are completed. These checkmarks, for example, will likely get filled in as players complete these smaller missions that lead into the big heist. Once planning is complete, players can actually choose the approach of their heists and missions. They can choose to go in with a bang, or they can take a more stealthy approach. I find it hilarious that loud is plan A here, while smart is plan B. But we are actually shown plan B first, with a smart use of sleeping gas to steal the jewels with almost no effort. Also, notice that these two individuals are neither Trevor nor Franklin, which means that players can recruit multiple new crew members at a time. This man in particular is likely Eddie Taw from a few seconds ago, whose expertise is driving, so he's a good choice for insertion and extraction by land. We are then shown Plan A with Trevor taking the charge. I cannot tell if the other two characters are Michael and Franklin, or just 2 other recruits because of the masks. Now, one of GTA's flaws has always been that there just wasn't enough to spend money on, but hopefully that will change with this game, with features such as car customization, shopping, and new features like the ability to get tattoos, and the game's new feature to invest in fully realized stock market and real estate systems. Also, loving the middle finger here. Only you, GTA. Only you. Last but not least, we are shown one of the most exciting features, Grand Theft Auto Online. Grand Theft Auto 4 featured a similar feature with a maximum of 16 players on consoles and 32 players on PC. In this particular footage, the highest dev number that I saw was 19, which is indication that there are at least 19 players. So I am assuming that what we are seeing here is some kind of a 32-player online mode. I find it interesting though that they call it Grand Theft Auto Online rather than Grand Theft Auto Multiplayer. It makes this mode sound grander in scale. So I am very excited to see how they will expand upon the concept that Grand Theft Auto 4's multiplayer established. Thus ends the trailer, and with that, I conclude my trailer analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to let our nation know in the comments below if I made any mistakes or if I missed anything. And to be further updated on Grand Theft Auto 5, be sure to join the nation and subscribe to Young Gear. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much, and Young out.